Authentically you. How many times, especially when it comes to personal branding, or even from your loved ones or from entrepreneurs, have you heard, be authentically you? What does that mean? How do you go about doing that? What's the point? Let's get started with starting to dig into how to be yourself, how to have a code, how to have values, and how to figure out where to even begin if you're going to start a personal brand. Here's the thing though, that thing that I just said about starting a personal brand, you already have one. You already have one. But that was the one that was unintentional. That was the one that, maybe you were still figuring yourself out. So let's start off and having to be authentically you and personal branding with some basics. You got to get to the basics. You got to lay the foundation first. So in being authentically you and therefore also creating a personal brand, what does authentically you mean? What does it mean? It means that your standards, your values, and your experiences, all three are coming together to help you decide on the beliefs and the principles that you as an individual believe in, the part that makes you you. So we're talking about the core necessities. You can also consider this to be a code. There's so many shades of gray in this world. It is never, hardly ever just black and white. Your code is what helps you to decide what actions that you take in the future as well, based off these values and standards and experiences. So, authentically you. Outside outside of everyone else, outside of all the influences that are coming into your life. And that's the thing. That's what this whole video is about, because there's a lot of outside influences that shape us, that help us to decide these core values. Like, you don't go around naked down the street, you don't go around the street, there's things that you don't do that society will not tolerate. So those are some baselines. But within those baselines of being safe and being practical, what about your career? How do you treat people? How do you treat yourself? All these things are choices and decisions that you make. So being authentically you. First, you got to understand what the outside influences are. And that's why all their self-reflection, meditation helps with this. You got to you got to separate, you actually got to look through the layers of who you are to figure out who you currently are and who you want to be. So you got to start digging through the layers first. And some of those first layers is like, how does my mom affect me? How does my dad affect me? What is it that my best friend says that really lights me up and makes me amazing? What about those other friends that tear me down? What are those outside influences? Recognize them so you can get rid of them when you're digging down to figure out who you are. So like, okay, this came from this person, this came from that person. As you're digging down, you're going to get down deeper and deeper into the core. In order to understand who you are, you first have to understand who you are not. Let me say it one more time. In order to figure out who you are, you have to start figuring out who you are not first. I am not a smoker. I am not someone who breaks her word. I am not someone that doesn't care about my family. Or on the other side, you can flip that and say, I am someone who cares about my friends and family. In order to figure out who you are, you figure out who you are not first. Now, there are situations and experiences that sometimes you have to have in order to decide, like, hey, like, I tried this thing or I did this thing, like a really simple one. Like, let's just say that you're like, am I a runner? Am I someone that's physically fit? Is that something that's interesting to me? Is that a part of the core that I want to build? Like, do I want to be fit? Do I want to care about my health? That's actually a really great place to start. Do I care or do I not care about my health? Because if you do not care about your health, well, you're not going to eat healthy and you're not going to take care of yourself, and it might be hard to get a partner, and that is a life choice, and that is a foundation, a belief, a standard for the core essence of authentically you. Authentically you is that you want to sit on a couch. Authentically you could also be, I'm someone that cares about what people, I care about how I present myself to the world. Not that I care about how what people think necessarily, because that's too much power and people that don't know you and don't understand you. Like, never do give that away. But you can care about how you present yourself to the world. Okay, if I care about how I present myself to the world, I'm going to eat right, do this and that. Do you see how this one core foundation, by saying that I am not someone who doesn't care about her looks. I am someone that does care about how I present myself to the world. By saying that, it changes everything because there's multiple levels that are all associated with this. So in order to figure out who you are, you have to figure who you are not. You are not someone that cheats or steals. You are not someone that, is going to abandon their loved ones. You are not someone that is going to get wasted and high and smoking all day long to the point where you don't know what day it is. Figure out your not list first. They should come fairly easy when you're doing this exercise. And I would suggest a pen and pencil or a pen and paper and just start writing down, I am not whatever it is. And here's a trick. The things that your brain comes up with first when you're doing this are the things that are the most important, because they're going to be at the very top of your brain when you do this. I am not. What just came to mind? Write it down. So then when you do have your I am not list, then you want to create the I am. I am someone that cares about her future partner and kids, so that I am very conscious and very careful about what I'm putting on the internet when I do these videos. Very conscious and very careful. I am someone who cares about her friends and family and is always there to help, and is very careful not to push myself onto my friends and family. Like, I will only help when they ask for it, because sometimes people just want to vent and they don't truly want your help in fixing it. They just want to be heard. I am someone that cares about other people and is willing to put herself out there on the social media to try and help those people, even though there's some risks that are involved. Who are you? What do you stand for? In doing this, by saying I am and I am not, you get rid of outside influences. Now, there are some that are integrated very deeply in here. Let's just be honest. If you have parents, because I don't, I had very toxic parents, and that's where I had to go even deeper. And if you do have these toxic influences in your life, be very careful on how you do this. But with me, with the toxic parents, I had to dig down even more. Like, these two toxic people raised me. Have I raised myself enough? Where is that influence? Does it stay? Does it go? Is it essential to who I am? Does it make me who I am? Is it right? Is that who I want to be? These influences, these beliefs that they gave me? Because if not, they're gone. I went through a period of my life where I did this myself and finding authentically me, and I cleaned house. I cleaned freaking house when it comes to my thoughts, my processes, and my soul on who I am and what I stand for. I hope that's not the case for you. I hope your parents gave you great morals about, if you're a guy, to respect a woman, to be helpful, to go out there and do something with your life. And here's the thing, that do something for your life, it's for my future queens and my females as well. For the girls and women that may watch this in the future. Go do something with your life. But in order to get to that point, you might want to start figuring out the core of who is authentically you. So do the I am not, do the I am. Now, here's where things get interesting. And this is the beautiful journey that is life. There's going to be a gray area. So you got the I am not, that's the black area. I am, that's the white area. And then there's a bunch of gray. And that you don't know. Maybe you've never tried to work out. You don't know if you're going to like it or not, because you never really put a real effort into it. This is where things get fun, okay? This is where things get really amazing. This is where you get to go on a journey. It's called the journey of life. Go on a journey. Have you ever seen The Hobbit? And this Hobbit just signed his life away, that he could be inseminated. He could be totally incinerated by fire. and like, loss of limbs and like all these horrible things that could happen to him. And yet he goes down the path waiving this contract where he just signed his death pretty much, and that he is going to go on an adventure. I encourage you to go on an adventure. Break the mediocrity that is life, that brain numbing day in and day out. Go do something. Go do something with your life. And by going on an adventure, by trying new experiences, you will find who you are as well. Not only by those DNA strands activating in new situations, but as we just talked about, that I am and I am not. You will find that I am not a bungee cord jumper. That is not something that I want to do. I am not a fan of heights. I am an animal lover. By going through these experiences, you will hammer down the core of who you are, who is authentically you, even more than anyone else. And one more thing on this authentically you, like it sounds like very straight, very strict, very like boundaries, like I am this, I am that. Got some words of advice here. Authentically you changes. It should. It's a journey. As you go through the hero's journey, you will learn more and more about yourself. So as you're learning more and more about yourself, some parts of you, like I am a partier, I am a drinker, I am someone that doesn't work out, can flip on a dime when you said that I've had enough, when you hit your threshold. I am not a partier. I am not a drinker. I am someone who's going to start changing their life. I am someone that's going to work out. I am someone that is going to do something with my life. Authentically you was someone that was just drinking and partying. Authentically you has just changed. It evolves as we go down a journey, but you have to choose the journey. You have to choose to be authentically you. And being authentically you can be sometimes braving social pressures that you should be this, that if you are a male and you are not pulling in however millions of dollars, that you're a failure. If you are a female and you are not married and having kids, that you are a failure. That is society. That is not you. Find what makes you happy. Find what brings you joy. And I say joy, and I corrected myself there, because while you're doing this authentically you, while you're picking up these pieces of yourself and you're analyzing them and you're looking at them and, oh, I like this about me, and oh, I like that. This might need a little work. That might need a little work. This might change. As you're looking at these pieces, also just keep in mind that it's going to change. And to be kind to yourself. And that you get to craft you. You are not your past. Where you came from is not where you have to end up. If you start watching these entrepreneurs, a lot of them came from nothing. I will tell you, I am building myself out with having no financial or emotional support. I'm climbing the ladder. At least I'm finally going in the right direction. Because I didn't know it at the time, but I was going in the wrong direction with fighting up the corporate ladder. I wish I would have started this entrepreneur journey so much earlier. Be authentically you. Go on a journey. And be brave. Be courageous. Because there's a lot of outside influences. People do not want to see you change. Our brains are programmed to keep the status quo, to take the least amount of effort possible to get from point A to point B. And your friends and family might not want to see you change. They might not want to. They might think that you might leave them behind. In some cases, in the friend group, maybe that's true. If you're smoking and drinking every day, maybe you are about to leave them behind. But with your friends and family, you can always reassure them, I'm going to be here for you. I just need some space. I'm going through this time to find out who I am. Because isn't that the journey of life? Isn't that what we're all trying to do? Just to find out who we are. How are you going to do that if you don't start looking for it? When you start looking to see who you are, who you want to be. And that is the thing. You are not your brain. And if you are sad and depressed and going through absolute hell, you can change it. You can build. And I will tell you, this is the core foundation of what I did when I was going to reinvent myself. Literally reinvent myself like 2 years ago. Like I went through this really, really dark, horrible time in my life. And I just kind of threw my hat down, put my foot down. And I said, enough. I've had enough. I have absolutely had enough. Things are going to start changing one way or another, even if I have to do it through sheer force of will. I've already been through hell. I've already got a core of steel. I'm going to use that core of steel to get out of depression, to get out of being unhealthy, to get out of not being who I am and trying to appease everybody else. I'm done. I am going to be me, and I'm going to figure out who me is first. And in order to figure out who that is, I got to figure out like where are these outside influences? Where, when I talk to this person, do they make me feel bad? Do they make me feel sad? Do they make the depression worse? You got to start analyzing a little bit here and there, because then you get to choose. Okay, so here's where the outside influences are. Here's where I'm currently at. Cool. Now I get to choose who I want to be. And I get to be authentically me, because no one else can be me. No one else can do it. Like, okay, yeah, being healthy, it's my version of healthy. What works for me, not for everybody else. It's not that I'm dancing to someone else's tune on the health and fitness guru. No, I'm choosing what's healthy for me, being authentically me. I'm a runner. I have 4 varsity letters from high school. Like, that's what I like to do. Like, it's just peaceful. Like, I've been doing it my entire life, or most of it. I was actually pretty good at it at one point. Like, I am a runner. I'm not much of a weightlifter, but I am. Here's where I changed. Here's where it's still authentically me. The running is a little bit harder now that I'm older. So now I am a weightlifter. I am someone that's trying to get better at putting more stress on my body so I can build more muscle, so that it can consume more calories, so that I can get in better shape faster. And I did this by doing research. Be authentically you. Figure out what you are not. Figure out who you currently are. And that leads to who you want to be. As Tony Robbins once said, like, I built this man that I became. I built him from the ground up. And I did it by eliminating what I am not, or what I will no longer tolerate in my life. You got to hit a threshold, because some of these things might be really deep. I am not a smoker. I am not a quitter. I am not someone that hurts other people. You got to figure it out first. And then once you figure out where you were and who you are, then you can move forward into the future and who you want to be. And you can be anything you want to be. All you got to do is try. Left foot, right foot, one step at a time. All it is a little bit of caring. Be kind to yourself when you're doing this, because authentically you can be one of the most amazing people on this planet. Authentically you might be a multi-billionaire that helps millions of people. Authentically you could bring great joy and kindness into their life. And I wanted to finish a thought as well, is that when you're doing this, when you're building the core, keep one thing in mind, okay? One thing in mind. It's when you're building authentically you, like most people say, I want to be happy. Like, I'm going to build this person so that I have a happy life. You will never have a happy life, okay? Happiness is an if, then, was, will be. As soon as you achieve it, as soon as you achieve that $1 billion, the dopamine drops and you're miserable. You just achieved this lifetime achievement of being a billionaire. The dopamine drops and you're not happy. You were happy for like 30 seconds. Like 30 seconds you were happy. So when you're building authentically you, when you're finding out who authentically you is, when you're trying to measure it, like, is this part of me? Do I want to keep this part of me? Does it bring you joy? Is the question that I have for you. Does authentically you, does this piece of you that I am a runner, that I am not a quitter, whatever piece that you're looking at on your list, does it bring you joy? Because happiness is fleeting, but joy is something that you can take and use every day of your life. Joy is something that you just love it so much that you just wake up in the morning energized to get to work, to go do this thing, to give to others, to be amazing. Joy is something that can last a lifetime if you want it to. So, in this first step in personal branding, and this, you got to start with the foundation. The foundation is authentically you, because there is no one else on this planet like you. Out of the billions and billions of individuals that exist, you are one of a kind, and you matter. You absolutely matter. Okay? You matter enough to give yourself this opportunity to find out who you are and who you want to be. Because if who you want to be is who I think it might be across the world through this universe, I think great things await you. And not only you, but I think you can lift out the people around you. I think while you can, I think you can help change a few people's lives. If nothing else, you can change your own. So, authentically you. Get to work, figure it out step by step, piece by piece. Let's get this party started so that we can create personal brands, so that we can draw people in, help people, and help change the lives of ourselves, our loved ones, and the people around us. So, time to level up onto the next level of who you want to be in the rest of your life. You can do this. I believe in you, and I'll see you in the next video.